picture a quiet Sunday evening, in a peaceful Florida neighborhood. Kids are finishing up homework, families are getting ready for the week.
Right.
But just down the street, in one house, a horrifying scene is about to unfold.
Yes, this is the story of the O'Neal Family Massacre.
A story that shows just how quickly a normal day can turn into a nightmare.
And how close to home this kind of evil can be.
Exactly. On March 18th, 2018, Ronnie O'Neal III was living in a house in Riverview, Florida, with his ex-girlfriend, Kenyatta Barron.
And their 2 kids.
Right, 9-year-old Ronnie,
who had autism.
and 8-year-old Ronnie IV.
It seems like it was just a regular Sunday.
Until it wasn't.
Later that night, a 911 call came in from Kenyatta.
Can you imagine the terror in her voice as she's screaming, "He's trying to kill me"?
It's chilling.
To think about what she must have been going through.
Especially with her children in the house.
Absolutely. And it wasn't just the 911 operator who heard her cries for help.
One of their neighbors, James Gray Jr., was outside that night.
And what he witnessed was terrifying.
He saw smoke pouring out of the house.
Kenyatta lying motionless on the floor.
And O'Neal standing over her, shouting.
It's like something out of a horror movie.
Tragically, this was real.
The brutality of Kenyatta's murder is just unimaginable.
She had been beaten, shot, and hit over and over again with a shotgun.
The medical reports are just horrifying.
Multiple skull fractures, severe blunt force trauma.
It's hard to comprehend that level of rage.
Especially towards someone you once shared a life with, had children with.
It makes you wonder, what could possibly lead to this?
Sadly, the horror didn't end there.
No, O'Neal then turned his rage on his own children.
He attacked Ronnie, who was already vulnerable because of her autism, with an axe.
And then he went after 8-year-old Ronnie IV, stabbing him multiple times.
It's just heartbreaking.
To think that a parent could do that to their own children.
And to make matters even worse,
O'Neal then set the house on fire.
he'd poured gasoline everywhere and ignited it.
But in a twist of fate, 8-year-old Ronnie IV managed to escape.
It's a miracle he survived.
Can you imagine at 8 years old?
Covered in blood, clutching his own intestines.
And still, he found the strength to get out of that burning house.
He stumbled out and told the first responders, "My father shot my mother."
It sends chills down your spine.
Even in that state of shock and pain, he was able to tell them what happened.
It's incredible, his strength and resilience, even at that young age.
It's like some primal instinct kicked in. He knew he had to survive.
And his words would become a crucial piece of evidence against his father.
His statement, along with his escape, really is remarkable.
It really is. In the midst of such darkness, a small glimmer of hope emerged.
And that's where our story takes its next turn.
O'Neal was arrested that night, but it wasn't easy.
The police had to use a taser to subdue him.
And even in custody, he was defiant, unrepentant.
He even referred to Kenyatta as the devil.
Trying to shift the blame, justify his actions.
It's a common tactic we see, abusers trying to control the narrative,
Even after they've been caught.
trying to make themselves look like the victim.
It's exactly.
But thankfully, the evidence told a very different story.
Right, and as the case moved towards trial, O'Neal made a decision that would add another layer to this whole saga.
He decided to represent himself in court.
Which, let's be honest,
It's not always the wisest move.
especially in a case like this,
You're going up against seasoned prosecutors.
and you're dealing with incredibly complex legal issues.
It rarely works out well for the defendant.
And this case was no exception,
O'Neal's lack of legal knowledge was pretty clear throughout the trial.
leading to some strange and unsettling moments in the courtroom.
And perhaps the most disturbing part of this whole thing.
Was his decision to cross-examine his own son, Ronnie V.
Can you imagine the trauma that young boy had to endure
To have to face his own father
in a courtroom?
and relive that horrific night.
It's just unimaginable.
But Ronnie V showed incredible bravery on the stand.
His testimony was heartbreaking, but so powerful.
When O'Neal questioned him about the stabbing, Ronnie V simply said, "Yes, you stabbed me."
Just a few words, but they spoke volumes.
It was a pivotal moment in the trial,
It solidified his credibility as a witness.
and it directly contradicted O'Neal's attempts to change the narrative.
It was really a testament to Ronnie V's strength and his determination to seek justice.
For himself, for his mother, and for his sister.
Absolutely. His testimony, along with all the evidence presented by the prosecution, ultimately led to O'Neal's conviction.
In June 2021, the jury found him guilty on all charges.
2 counts of first-degree murder
Arson.
and attempted murder,
The judge sentenced him to 3 consecutive life sentences,
without the possibility of parole.
ensuring that he would spend the rest of his life behind bars.
It was a bittersweet victory, a sense of justice served, but overshadowed by the immense loss and suffering this family endured.
It's a reminder that while the legal system can provide some sense of accountability,
It can't undo the pain that's been inflicted.
the scars of this tragedy will likely remain with Ronnie V for the rest of his life.
And this is where the story takes an incredible turn.
Towards healing and hope.
You see, remember Detective Mike Blair,
One of the first responders on the scene that night.
the one who helped pull Ronnie the IV from the burning house?
Yes, well, he and his wife, Danielle, made a truly extraordinary decision,
They decided to adopt Ronnie IV,
giving him a new chance at life.
a loving and safe home
It's a testament to the human spirit.
that even in the darkest of times, compassion and love can prevail.
Detective Blair and his wife saw a child in need,
A child who had been through the unimaginable.
and they opened their hearts and their home to him.
It's a beautiful story of hope amidst tragedy.
Absolutely, and it gets even better. Ronnie IV is thriving in his new home.
He's participating in family activities, playing sports, going to school.
It's like he's finally getting to be a kid again.
After everything he's been through,
It's just so heartwarming to see.
the Blairs have given him more than just a roof over his head.
They've given him a sense of belonging,
Stability and unconditional love,
the things every child needs to heal and grow.
especially after experiencing such a horrific trauma.
And there's this beautiful quote from Ronnie IV that captures the essence of his newfound happiness.
What did he say?
He said, "I am safe, I am loved, and I am part of this family."
Wow, those words are so powerful.
They speak volumes about the healing he's experienced.
And the incredible impact the Blairs have had on his life.
But this case also brings up some tough questions about our society.
Yes, about how we handle domestic violence.
This tragedy underscores the fact that it can happen anywhere, to anyone,
Regardless of socioeconomic status, race, or religion.
and it can escalate quickly.
Often with devastating consequences.
It's a stark reminder that we need to do more to prevent domestic violence.
And support those who are affected by it.
We need to recognize the warning signs
Provide safe spaces for victims.
and hold abusers accountable for their actions.
We need to break the cycle of violence.
It's a complex issue with no easy solutions.
But we can't afford to ignore it.
We all have a role to play in creating a safer and more compassionate world.
Absolutely, one where stories like Ronnie I become the norm, not the exception. Yeah, it's hard to believe that we've reached the end of this deep dive already.
I know, it feels like we just started.
But we've covered a lot of ground, haven't we?
We have. From the chilling details of the crime itself,
To the incredible resilience of Ronnie IV.
and the amazing compassion of Detective Blair and his wife.
This case has really taken us on an emotional roller coaster,
It has. It's shown us the darkest depths of human cruelty.
but also the extraordinary power of hope and healing.
It's reminded us that even in the face of tragedy,
The human spirit can endure.
absolutely.
Or
So, as we wrap things up, what are some of the key takeaways you think our listeners can glean from this case?
Well, I think one of the biggest lessons here is the importance of fostering resilience, both in ourselves and in others.
Resilience.
Yeah, that ability to bounce back from adversity.
To keep going even when things are tough.
Exactly.
That's so important, especially in today's world.
Life can be unpredictable. We all face challenges.
But it's how we respond to those challenges that defines us.
And this case shows us that even in the darkest of times,
There's always hope.
always the potential for healing and growth.
Ronnie V's story is proof of that.
He went through something horrific, something no child should ever have to experience.
But he didn't let it break him.
with the love and support of his new family.
He was able to find healing and happiness.
And that's something we can all learn from.
It's a reminder that no matter what we've been through,
We have the strength within us to overcome it.
to find joy and purpose in our lives.
And I think this case also highlights the importance of community and support systems.
Absolutely, we're not meant to go through life alone.
We need each other, especially during tough times.
Whether it's family, friends, or professional help,
Having a support system can make all the difference.
it can provide a sense of safety and belonging.
A reminder that we're not alone in our struggles.
And this case, as difficult as it is to discuss,
Really shines a light on the issue of domestic violence.
a problem that's far too common.
And often hidden from view,
It can happen to anyone,
regardless of their background or social status.
and it's never the victim's fault.
It's crucial that we as a society
Continue to raise awareness about domestic violence,
and provide support to those who are affected by it.
whether it's through education, prevention programs, or support services,
We need to create a culture where victims feel safe to come forward.
and where abusers are held accountable for their actions. We all have a part to play in making that happen.
We can challenge harmful attitudes and beliefs.
Support organizations that are working to end domestic violence.
And speak out against any form of abuse that we witness.
It's about creating a world where everyone feels safe and respected.
A world free from violence.
And that's a goal worth striving for.
Absolutely.
Well, as we conclude this deep dive, I want to thank you for joining us on this journey.
It's been a privilege to share these stories with you.
And to explore the complexities of human behavior.
If you'd like to learn more about the O'Neal Family Massacre
And other cases like it.
we encourage you to check out our website.
And follow us on social media.
And remember,
Even in the darkest of times,
there's always hope.
there's always the potential for healing and change.
Thank you for listening.